The great poet Langston Hughes.
Langston Hughes was an influential American poet, social activist, novelist, playwright, and columnist. He was born on February 1, 1902, in Joplin, Missouri, and died on May 22, 1967, in New York City. Hughes is best known as a key figure of the Harlem Renaissance, a cultural and intellectual movement of the 1920s and 1932 centered in Harlem, New York. Langston Hughes was the second child of James Nathaniel Hughes and Carrie Mercer Langston. His parents divorced when he was a young child, and his father moved to Mexico. Hughes and his mother moved frequently, eventually settling in Cleveland, Ohio. He began writing poetry in high school and was inspired by the works of Carl Sandburg and Walt Whitman. Hughes attended Columbia University in New York City but left after a year due to racial prejudice and a lack of financial support. He worked various odd jobs to support himself and began traveling extensively. Hughes spent time in Mexico, where he wrote poetry and worked as a busboy in a hotel. He also traveled to Europe and Africa, which had a profound impact on his writing and worldview. In the 1920s, Hughes became a central figure in the Harlem Renaissance, a cultural movement celebrating African American art, literature, and music. His poetry captured the experiences, struggles, and joys of African Americans in the United States. Hughes's first published poem, "The Negro Speaks of Rivers," appeared in The Crisis magazine in 1921. Hughes published his first collection of poetry, The Weary Blues, in 1926. It was well received and established him as an important voice of the Harlem Renaissance. He went on to publish numerous books of poetry, short stories, novels, and plays. Some of his notable works include Not Without Laughter, Montage of A Dream Deferred, and The Ways of White Folks. Hughes used his writing as a means of addressing social and racial injustice. He wrote extensively about the experiences of African Americans, highlighting their struggles, dreams, and resilience. Hughes was also involved in political activism and was a member of the Communist Party USA for a time. In the 1950s and 1962, Hughes continued to write and speak out against racism and inequality. He traveled widely, giving readings and lectures both in the United States and abroad. Hughes received numerous awards and honors for his literary contributions. He died on May 22, 1967, in New York City, at the age of 65. Langston Hughes's work continues to be celebrated for its poetic beauty, powerful social commentary, and its contribution to the literary and cultural landscape of the United States.